What's up, guys? It's Malfunction Face here. I'd like to talk to you more about the topic I talked about in my previous video, which was depersonalization, derealization, or just an anxiety disorder that I had. But more specifically, I want to talk about how I actually cured it, rather than like everything that happened to me, and pretty much eventually, I got better. But I want to teach you how the methods I used, some that worked, some that didn't, and ultimately try to help you in the end. Um, so pretty much, depersonalization for me is it's like something on your back constantly. It's constantly there. It's constantly just interrupting everything. It's constantly on your back. It's just it's just there constantly. You can't really get rid of it. Um, Once you come to that realization that it's going to be there for either a while, since I haven't had it for very long. I've had it for maybe 2 or 3 years, compared to certain people who've had it for a while, much longer. Um, Certain people, it could probably possibly last for a year, could last for 2 years, last for three, more, and 10 years. But the point is, I think a lot of these people are really not focusing on the problem, and they're just letting it ride out. And I've pretty much discovered my method of helping myself is, I pretty much broke down my anxiety, what was affecting me at the time, and I figured out that a lot of this is fear. It's fear. It's pretty much it's fear controlling your life, and you never let fear control your life. You never let it control your decisions. Otherwise, you either make bad decisions, or you're constantly inside, never doing anything. So basically, my one of my tips for you is to just go out there and pretty much just go out there and do the things you used to love. You love doing. You used to love doing before depersonalization, and the things you like now. Because I liked my friends. I wanted to go see my friends. I wanted to say hello to my friends, but for some reason, whenever they would invite me over to their house for a sleepover or something like that, I wouldn't want to go. Like, I would want to go, but I wouldn't want to go for some reason. I don't know why. And I realized it was because of my anxiety. I didn't want to go because I was scared. I wasn't scared of anything. It was like a phantom fear. Honestly, there was no fear or anxiety towards anything. It was more just anxiety in general. And I pretty much said, you know what, fuck it. And then I started, going to movies with my mates, started talking to them, started opening up about it, and they were pretty welcoming about it. Because this is probably one of the tips. This is one of the tips. Just try to do the things you used to do that you love doing. Even if it scares you, just try. If you used to love going for runs and can't do that anymore, go for a run with a friend, go for a brief walk, and then just keep incrementally, just little increments, more and more and more, until you can pretty much do it by yourself without being scared. I've tried a lot of the other methods that people have suggested, and I realize that these are like, if you go to the doctor for back pain and they prescribe you medicine, whereas you go to a chiropractor, they fix it. They, like, in certain situations, they could just crack your back and you're fine for forever, pretty much. So, like, I'd rather a cure than a treatment, or just a cure than just something to just ease the pain. Because I honestly, I'd rather it go through pain to have it gone than to just sit through and just try to pretend as if it isn't there. And that is it. A lot of the people would say, "Oh, just pretend it doesn't exist. Just pretend like doing that." It does seem like it's working, but any time someone brings up depersonalization, you remember why you're forgetting it. You remember why you're not like it, trying to remember it. It's quite complicated, but it's like a thought process. It's kind of like an exercise in futility. It's just pretty much you're going to come back to it. What you want to do is try to address the problem directly. If you keep going around it, you're just going to come back at the same problem, and you're just going to be back where you started. What you got to try to do is you got to try to basically, what I try to tell people, when I spoke to people who had depersonalization on, like, anonymous servers and stuff like that on the Reddit thing, um, I read a thing. I'll put it in the description. Maybe you want to check it out. I told them. I said, listen. I don't. It wasn't that was the Reddit thing. I was just speaking to them. I spoke to a mate who had it as well. He pretty much said, "Oh well, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Like, what do I do? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that?" And I was trying to explain to him many different things. And he pretty much one day asked, like, do you think it would be better if I just sat there and just pretended it didn't exist? And I said, probably not. Um, it'd probably be stupid because you're going to come back to it eventually. You've got to face whatever it is that you need to do. You got to face it. You got to try to go head on. You can't sit there and just you can't just sit there and let it eat at you. You've got to try and find the root of the problem. That is what I said to. I said you have to find the root of the problem. Otherwise, it will just continue to grow. It's pretty much like when you pick weeds. You don't just pull out the top because it'll just grow back. You want to find the root. You want to kill the root. You want to stop it. I said every time you go, okay, I'm gonna forget, and then something brings it back, it's there, just as strong as it always was. And you can banish it here and there, but sometimes it won't. It won't go away. What you need to do is try to talk to yourself. Understand why you're feeling this way. Understand why things are the way they are. And honestly, a lot of the times it's the way you are. It's the way you deal with things because a lot of the times people deal with things good ways and people deal with things bad ways. Like a lot of the times people just get angry and smash things as a way of coping with certain things. Maybe loss, maybe like just pretty much anger in general. They can just smash something, or they could just be passive. They could just go, well, whatever. And either one, there's an extreme of both. You could just be either let it out, smash it, shit, or you could be so passive to the point that you let it build up and then you just go on a fucking psycho bubble rage rant. Um, Pretty much what you need to do is to try and think what you got to try and do some soul searching. Honestly, you got to think, what did I do? Why am I feeling this way? Why did this happen to me? And it's not going to be easy because the answer is not going to be quite obvious. You got to think about things that you said and did before depersonalization, before it hit you, before it came. And honestly, people go, "Oh, I had a little bit of this and that. I had a bit of weed, and then it came on. It was because of the weed." It's like, no, no, no. You had underlying problems that made you pretty much prone, or you were going to get this no matter what. So pretty much you got to try and think what was bad about me. And a lot of people can go, "Oh well, I didn't really wasn't that bad. I just kept to myself." But then again, think, what did you do? Did you think a certain way? Did you do things a certain way that may be damaging mentally to yourself? And if you can try and do that, you can try to understand why you got it in the first place. Because that's the thing. This is how to cure it. This is not how to treat it. This is not how to get to just wish it away. It's gonna take work. You're gonna have to pretty much you gave this to yourself. Honestly, you gave this to yourself, and you can cure yourself. It's all the power of your mind. You can do it. You gave it to yourself. You can get rid of it. You got to always have faith. You could never ever just go, "Oh, I'm done." I have done that before, and it's just it. Everyone has slips. Everyone has little slips here and there. That's understandable, but don't ever just full on quit. Just go, "You know what? I'm just gonna live with it." Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Don't be the defeatist type. Try. Just keep trying, because eventually you will find something that works. And what I've used works. All I do is simple. I looked. I found out. Like for me, for example, I the idea of responsibilities of an adult were being pushed on me already. I was being treated like an adult, and I pretty much missed out on a lot of things being like a kid, like because my parents went back and forth. I was living with them and they were divorced, and a lot of things that I missed, and I didn't really want to grow up yet. But now I understand that I have to grow up, that I grow out of things, and just because I'm an adult doesn't mean I can be a bit childish at times. So for like certain childish things, I'm an adult. I can make decisions I can make decisions if I want. If I want to do something silly, I'll do something silly. If I want to do something, uh, you know, maturely make mature decisions, I'll make mature decisions. That's another thing. I've found out why I felt that way, and I fixed it. I said, okay. Another thing, I was scared about getting my learners. My learners. So for American viewers, if you're American watching this, is pretty much in Australia, you don't get your fucking license at 16. You don't pretty much go, okay, here's your license, go on your Corvette and fucking smash it in a wall. No, they go, okay, here's your learners. For 1 year, you got to write down every fucking thing. Did you fart in the car? Did you look at a leaf funny? Did you fucking did the dash change too fucking drastically? You got to write down all the changes of the dash. You got to write down the K's before and after you got to the place. Um, and that sort of shit. That for a year with another person next to you. And then the next after that, you get your P's, your probationary license, and that's pretty much you get to drive around. You get to drive by yourself, but you can't have more than one occupant, more than one passenger, either the same age as you or under. I don't know if you can have more. I haven't really looked into that. Sorry about that. And yeah, and you can't have a car that's over 130 kilowatts per ton. So it's you can't really have a fucking like a supercharged goddamn beast when you're on your P's, and then you get on your green P's, and this is another 3 years. So you're about 21, 22 when you finally get your P, when you finally can just get your normal license and drive anything you want. And I was a little bit scared of that, and I realised why, because it was another thing. It was something that I had to like. It was like a rite of passage that was forced on people when they hit a certain age. I understood that, but what I was scared of that when when I was driving, there were people in the car, and it was if I made a wrong choice, if I did something wrong, or if I smashed the car, I'll be putting them in danger, and I did not want to do that, and I felt scared for them. I didn't want to put people in danger because it was the last thing I ever wanted to do. I'd rather honestly hurt myself than hurt someone else. And honestly, I was pretty much by doing this. And now I address it. I'm getting my P soon, um, my L soon. I'm trying to address the fear. I'm trying to understand that, obviously if I drive safely and if I take precautions, it's probably a good thing that I'm so cautious. Then I won't be a retard or dickhead driving around smashing into people and shit, so I'll be a more cautious driver than a lot of people my age. Um, and certain things like the back and forth thing with my parents didn't work with me. It didn't really function with me. I couldn't. I only had one place, and like it was my home, and it was where I was well when I was a kid. I came here. I was born here. I have a connection with my house, and the other house wasn't really a home. It was just a place where I stayed occasionally. Then I'd come home, and then I'd leave and stay at that place again, and then come home again. And pretty much that change and that drastic change only aggravated it, and it's at times made it worse. And I'm not saying I don't love my dad. He's a good guy. Just I don't function that way. I don't function the way that's set up. So anyway, continuing from there. A lot of the time, that if you have a look at the problems that I've given you, and I've just deconstructed the root. I've found the root. What the bad part of the problem? What is causing them? Why it is that way? And I've found out how I got depersonalization. I let these problems pile up, and I didn't deal with them equally. Now I'm in a hypersensitive state that little things can push me over, or I'm a bit more hypersensitive. But honestly, I think after you've been through depersonalization, you can pretty much almost go through anything, because you pretty much go through a war with your own mind. You try to force your mind to let you feel, which is like so everyone can do that, and then you feel like you're being robbed of situations, like birthday parties, you events that you feel like you're not at because you have depersonalization. And it's completely understandable, but people don't understand this. So talk to people. This is another good thing to do. Talk to people, but also just try to find out what is causing your depersonalization. And a lot of the times it'll be things that are not very obvious to you, or things that are just blatantly obvious right there in front of you, but you haven't thought of them a different way. Try this next time. Try this. You have a lot of time with yourself, and the only person that can heal yourself is you. So it gives you just pretty much a lot more incentive to work on it a lot. Put a lot more effort into this. So sit down with yourself. Try to find what's eating you, what's pissing you off, what you were scared of before and what you're scared of now, and eventually you will become a new person. And that's another thing people have to they have to try to understand, that you will never be the same person you were before. You can be like that person, but after this experience you'll be different. I like to think you'd be mentally battle hardened. You 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 can go through things a lot of other people couldn't, or it could be the opposite. You could be very very sensitive to certain things. But in the end, you got to understand that that person you were before, there was something wrong with that person. You weren't doing something correctly, and if you want to be that way, that's why you still got depersonalization. You still want to have that situation where you could get depersonalization. The easiest, the hardest thing to do is to let go. It's kind of like you're hanging on and clinging on for dear life to your old fucking self and trying to go, I want to be that guy, I want to be him again. Just let go. Just let go. Honestly, you, you are you. It's kind of like it's kind of like getting going. Oh no, I'm not gonna. These clothes, they're mine, but I don't want to leave them because they're mine. It's just you. You're you. Those are clothes. Those are vessels. Those are things that you wear. They're not who you are. Just let go. Just try to let go and just. It's as easy as that. It's hard to let go, but after that, it is so easy. It is easier because now you've built a foundation. Now you've built the foundation. You've gotten rid of all of the clinging on to shit. You've snapped all the ropes. You've cut all the ropes that were tethering you to something, and now you can just go up. Because once you're at rock bottom, the only place to go is up. And you can work on yourself. You can work on the project, which is you. Just try to work on yourself more. And yeah, this is my video. If you've got more, if you want to talk to me about a problem that you're facing that you think I could help you with, I'll put my Gmail in the description. You just send me a message there, or leave a comment, like, subscribe, favorite, and share this video for other people that have it. And remember, it's all in your head. So if you gave it to yourself, you can fix it. I'm Malfunction Face, and thank you very much for listening.